Once upon a time, in a quiet, peaceful village, surrounded by fields, trees, and tiny stone houses, there lived 4 sisters: Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy. They lived with their parents in a small wooden home, a simple home, but always filled with warmth. They didn't have much money. Sometimes they barely had enough to buy clothes, or food, but they had something far more precious: love, unity, and kindness. Meg, the oldest, was gentle, wise, and beautiful, with a calm smile. Jo, bold, energetic, a true tomboy, dreamed of becoming a great writer one day. Beth, soft-spoken, sweet, shy, but with the kindest heart in the world. And Amy, the youngest, pretty, delicate, sometimes a little dramatic, but truly lovable. Everyone in the village adored them. Whenever the sisters walked together, people would smile and say, "Look, the little women are coming." And the girls always smiled back. Sparkles a sudden knock, the father is called to war. One cold morning, a soldier appeared at their door. His boots were muddy, his coat was heavy, and in his hand, a letter sealed with the mark of the army. "I'm here with news," he said. "You've been called to serve. The Civil War needs you." Their father's face tightened. Mother gasped softly. The girls froze. "No. Father, please don't go," little Amy whispered. Jo held her breath. Beth's eyes filled with tears. Father knelt before them. "My children, I must go. It is a duty, and an honor to protect our country." "When will you come home?" Meg asked, voice shaking. "I'll return before the rains," he said gently. "Be brave now, take care of each other, and take care of Mother." And with a heavy heart, the family watched him walk away, step by step, down the snowy road. Sparkle's hard times begin. Days turned into weeks. Life grew harder. Mother worked longer hours, the girls helped with chores, but still, money became scarce. Sometimes dinner was only a small bowl of soup. Sometimes they had to patch the same dress again, and again. But the sisters stayed positive. They laughed together, sang while working, and encouraged each other. "Everything will be all right," Meg said. "When Father returns, our worries will end." Sparkle's terrible news arrives. One afternoon, Meg opened the mailbox and found a letter. A letter from the army. Her hands shook before she even read the first line. "Mother," Meg cried. "It's about Father." The room went silent. The letter said, Father had been injured. Badly. He was in the hospital, and someone needed to care for him. "Oh dear," Mother whispered. "How will I travel there? We have no money." The girls looked at Mother, heartbroken. They wanted to help, but didn't know what to do. Sparkle's Jo's sacrifice. Later that day, Jo put on her coat and quietly left the house. She walked through the cold wind, straight to the town barber. And when evening came, she returned home. In her hand was a small bag of money. But her long, beautiful hair was gone. "Mother, take this," Jo said. "It should be enough to reach Father." Mother covered her mouth. "Oh Joe, your lovely hair. It will grow back," Joe said bravely, though her eyes glistened. But that night, lying in the dark, she cried softly. Not because she regretted it, but because the sacrifice felt heavy. Meg quietly slipped into her bed, hugged Joe, and whispered, "You're wonderful. Father will be proud." Sparkle's mother leaves, the sisters stay behind. The next morning, Mother packed her things and left to care for Father. The sisters waved goodbye, trying not to cry. Days after Mother left, the girls took charge of everything. They cooked simple meals, cleaned the house, did laundry, and tried to keep spirits high. In the evenings they sat by the fire, telling stories, trying to pretend everything was normal. But slowly, something felt wrong. Sparkle's Beth falls ill. Beth began coughing one night. Then came the chills, the fever, the trembling. Her sisters gathered around her bed. "Beth, you're burning up," Joe said. "We need a doctor," Meg whispered. "But we have no money," Amy added. Joe stood up. "I'll bring the doctor anyway. Beth comes first." She ran out the door, into the freezing snow, her shoes soaked, her hands numb, but she didn't stop. The doctor agreed to come. He examined Beth carefully. "She has scarlet fever," he said. "But don't fear, she can recover with care." "Doctor, we cannot pay you yet," Joe admitted. The doctor smiled kindly. "My fee can wait. A child's life cannot." The girls thanked him with all their hearts. They took care of Beth day and night, feeding her soup, cooling her forehead, reading to her, singing to her softly, but Beth whispered, "I miss Mother, where is she? I need her." Sparkle's mother returns. And then, as if her heart had heard Beth's cry, the door opened. "Mother!" The girls ran to her, hugging her tightly. Beth's tired eyes brightened. "Mother, you came." Mother kissed her forehead. "I'm here now, darling. And I'll take care of you." With Mother's nursing and love, Beth slowly got better. Her smile returned. Her voice became stronger. Hope filled the house once again. Sparkle's father is healing. One evening, as they all sat near the fire, Mother said, "Your father is recovering. His injury was serious, his leg is broken, but he is out of danger." The girls sighed in relief. Amy cried a little. Even Joe wiped a tear. "We just want him home," Beth whispered. "He will come," Mother assured them. "Very soon." Sparkle's A Sad Christmas arrives. Winter deepened. Snow covered the village like a white blanket. Christmas drew near, but this year, Christmas felt empty. Mother and Meg managed to bring home a simple Christmas tree. But there were no lights, no gifts, no roasted food, not even money for breakfast. Amy sighed, "I wanted a new dress." Beth whispered, "I wished for a piano." Joe said softly, "I just want us to be happy." Meg closed her eyes and murmured, "I wish we could all celebrate together." They sat around the small tree, trying to smile, trying to be grateful, even though their hearts were heavy. Then suddenly, knock knock. Amy jumped. Who could it be? Sparkles the Christmas miracle. Meg walked to the door slowly, her hands cold, her heart beating fast. When she opened it, snow rushed in, and standing there, in the doorway, was Father. Weak, tired, leaning on a cane, but smiling. "Father!" The girls screamed with joy. They ran to him, hugging him, holding him tight as if they would never let go. "This," Meg whispered, "is the best Christmas present we could ever receive." Father laughed softly. "My little women, how I missed you." They pulled him inside, warmed him near the fire. Mother wiped tears of joy from her eyes. And that night, they didn't need gifts. They didn't need food. They didn't need anything. Because their family was whole again. They talked, laughed, held hands, and celebrated a warm, beautiful Christmas together, a Christmas filled with love. And that is the story of the Little Women. A story of courage, sacrifice, love, and family. In the deep heart of India, where the nights are warm, and the moon hangs low like a silver lantern, there lies a world full of ancient secrets. A world ruled by leaves, shadows, and the law of the jungle. And on one very special night, a story began. The story of a little boy who would one day change the jungle forever. This is the tale of Mowgli. The forest was unusually peaceful. Owls blinked lazily on branches. Fireflies drifted like floating golden dust. A gentle breeze brushed over the tall grass, and every leaf seemed to be dreaming. Inside a warm den dug into the hillside, Mother Wolf Ruksha curled around her newborn cubs. They mewed softly, nudging her belly for warmth. She licked their tiny heads lovingly. Nearby, Father Wolf Rama paced by the entrance. His ears stayed sharp, listening for any danger. The night was calm, until suddenly. Crack, rustle, crack, Rama's ears perked up. His body stiffened. Something was moving in the dark. Something small, but unusual. Not the step of a deer. Not the slither of a snake. Not the heavy paw of a predator. He stepped forward, slow and silent. The moonlight spilled across the ground, revealing a small, woven basket lying among the ferns. Rama sniffed it carefully. A strange scent, warm, soft, human. He nudged the basket with his nose. The lid shifted, and inside, wrapped in a thin cloth, was a tiny human baby. With wide dark eyes that sparkled like the night sky. The baby didn't cry. Didn't scream. Just stared at the wolf with innocent curiosity. As if nothing in the world could frighten him. Rama picked up the basket gently. And carried it inside. Ruksha lifted her head when Rama returned. At first, she looked confused. Then surprised. Then soft and tender. A man cub. She whispered. The baby reached towards her, not with fear, but with trust. She lowered her nose to him, breathing in the unfamiliar scent. The baby giggled and grabbed her fur. In that instant, something powerful filled her. A mother's instinct, fierce and unshakable. This little one is mine, she said. I will protect him. No harm will come to this child. Rama nodded. He knew Raksha's voice when she meant something strong. Final. The wolf cub sniffed the baby curiously, crawling around him with playful nudges. To them, he was simply another sibling. Soft, warm, interesting. Raksha curled her body around all of them, 4 wolf pups and 1 human child, as if they had always belonged together. But peace in the jungle never lasts long. A deep growl rolled through the trees. Birds fluttered from branches. Dry leaves trembled. Shere Khan, the mighty Bengal tiger, was coming. The earth seemed to shake beneath his heavy paws. Rama moved to the entrance immediately, muscles tense, fur raised. Shere Khan appeared between the trees, his one good eye gleaming with hunger. "I smell something new," he growled. "Something delicate." Rama stood firm. "This is wolf territory." Shere Khan paced forward slowly, his tail swishing behind him. "I lost my prey," he said, a low rumble in his throat. A man was fleeing through the forest. He dropped something. "That something belongs to me." Raksha stepped into the light, eyes blazing. "You will not touch this child," she said. "Leave." Shere Khan let out a mocking laugh. "A man cub cannot live with wolves. He is weak, slow, helpless." Raksha snarled, stepping closer. "He is mine. As long as he lives in my den, no creature, not even you, Shere Khan, will harm him." The tiger's eye gleamed with fury. "You protect him now," he said, "but one day he will walk upright like all humans. And when that day comes, he will be mine." He turned, tail flicking with anger, and disappeared into the shadows. But Raksha heard his final growl echo, "The jungle is no place for a human." The next morning, a warm golden sunrise touched the treetops. Birds sang loudly. Monkeys chattered. But there was tension in the air. Word spread quickly, the wolves were bringing a man cub to the council rock. All the wolves gathered. Young wolves. Old wolves with silver coats. Hunters, mothers, scouts. Akela, the great gray wolf, sat at the top of the rock. His eyes were wise, his voice deep and commanding. Rama placed the man cub before him. A soft gasp ran through the pack. A human child. A man cub. What will happen to him? Shere Khan prowled nearby, watching hungrily from the shadows. "He is mine," the tiger said. "Give him to me." Akela silenced him with a powerful stare. "The law says a cub, any cub, must be spoken for by the pack, and protected by those who can teach him." A long silence followed. Then, from behind the rock, a sleek black shape emerged. Bagheera, the Black Panther. "I speak for the man cub," he said, voice smooth and steady. "I will offer a bull in exchange. Let him live." The wolves murmured. Then, a deep, cheerful voice, "I will teach him." It was Baloo, the great brown bear. "He will learn the jungle law with me. He will learn respect. He will learn to survive." With 2 respected animals speaking for Mowgli, Akela raised his head high. "Then it is decided," he declared. The man cub will join the wolf pack. He will run with us. He will be one of us. Shere Khan roared in outrage, but the wolves howled louder, drowning his anger. Mowgli was safe. And so Mowgli stayed in the jungle. Days passed. Weeks passed. Months turned into years. Mowgli grew strong. He learned to run on all fours with the wolf cubs. He learned to leap across rocks, swing from branches, and swim in the river's cool waters. Bagheera taught him silence. How to move without a sound, how to sense danger before seeing it. Baloo taught him the law of the jungle. The rules every creature must follow to live in harmony. Raksha taught him love, loyalty, and courage. At night, the pack lay together under the stars. Mowgli curled against Raksha's warm fur, listening to her heartbeat, safe. But sometimes, very far away, a deep roar echoed through the valley. Shere Khan. Watching. Waiting. Remembering. The jungle had accepted Mowgli. But the tiger had not. And so, the man cub grew in the heart of the wild, not quite a wolf, not quite a human, but something beautifully in between. His journey had only begun. And though he didn't yet know it, danger, adventure, friendship, and great challenges were waiting for him just beyond the next sunrise. This is the beginning of Mowgli's story. End of episode 1. Once upon a time, high in a quiet garden, hidden beneath leaves soft as whispers, there lived 5 little peas inside a single green pod. 5 peas. 5 tiny souls. 5 different hearts, but all living together, tightly, silently, inside that snug little pod. The pod was closed. Sealed. Safe. Dark. Warm. Their whole world was green walls and soft cushions of pea skin. And because they were still small, still tender, still unable to face the bright and burning sun, they slept all day, deep, peaceful sleep. Dreamless. Motionless. Wrapped in nature's quiet embrace. But when night arrived, that was different. At night, when the garden cooled, when the breeze softened, when the world outside turned silver, the peas woke up. They stretched. They whispered. They giggled. And they listened, because night had music. Not just any music, but the music of the moon. The moon, oh, the moon, she was an artist. A performer. A graceful dancer in the sky. When she was a crescent, slim, delicate, curved like a smile, she tied silver strings from tip to tip, and she played them like a harp. Soft notes, gentle tones, floating down like mist, wrapping the pod in shimmering sound. The peas listened. They loved it. Every night, the harp played, and they dreamt with open eyes. But when the moon became full, bright, bold, round like a shining drum, she changed her tune. She didn't play the harp anymore. She played drums. Loud. Booming. Echoing across the garden. Boom. 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 The peas woke immediately. And each little pea reacted differently. The first pea sat up and shouted, "I love this sound. The drums. The boom. The rhythm. I love it." The second pea sighed happily, it's soothing, comforting, like a warm blanket of sound. The third pea whispered softly, I miss the harp, the gentle strings, the soft humming. But this is nice too. The fourth pea groaned, oh please, please, can't there be quiet? I want to sleep, just sleep, nothing more. He was the laziest, the sleepiest, the one who thought dreaming was better than living. And the fifth pea, the smallest, the youngest, the bright spark of the pod, he smiled and said, I love everything. The castanets, the drums, the harp. All music is beautiful. All sounds make me happy. He was different. Not like the others. His heart beat in color. His mind danced in wonder. And night after night, day after day, the peas grew. They didn't notice at first. But slowly, surely, silently, they filled the pod. One day, the first pea said, move aside. I can't stretch. The second complained, it's tight, too tight. I can't breathe. The third grumbled, I'm squeezed from all sides. The fourth mumbled half asleep, make some space. I'm trying to sleep here. And the fifth pea, smallest but squeezed the hardest, said, I'm tiny, yet even I have no room. The pod groaned. Its skin stretched. Its seams trembled. And then, crack! A sharp burst of light. A split. A sudden opening. Sunlight pouring in like liquid gold. The peas shrieked. Oh no, who opened it? Close it. Close it. My eyes. Too bright. Please. I can't even wake up properly. This is madness. But the sunlight didn't stop. The world was calling. Nature had decided. The pod had burst. And there was no going back. The fifth pea, always cheerful, shouted joyfully, yay! Our pod is open. Look. Look at the light. The others blinked. They squinted. They trembled. But slowly, slowly, they grew comfortable. Warm. Brave. And a new thought began to bloom. The first pea said, I think we have a chance. The second asked softly, a chance for what? The third pea answered, a chance to see the world. The fourth rolled over lazily, why bother, I'd rather sleep. The fifth pea spoke gently, we've lived here long enough. The world is big, bright, colorful. Don't you want to see it? They hesitated. They whispered. They debated. They dreamed. And finally, they agreed. They would leave the pod. They would explore the world. They would find their destiny. One by one, holding the stem, sliding down, they left. One by one, the little peas held their breath, gripped the stem, and slid out of the pod. The world felt huge, cold, bright, wild. The first pea yelled, hold tight. It's slippery. The second shouted, don't fall too fast. The third whispered to himself, oh dear, where will I land? The fourth muttered half asleep, I hope I find a soft place to nap. The fifth pea laughed with delight, this is fun. Like flying down a slide. They tumbled. They rolled. They bounced off leaves, and finally, plop, 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 plop. They landed on the soft soil of a pea patch. For the first time, they felt ground beneath them. A breeze brushing their tiny round bodies. Warmth touching their skin. The world, alive, everywhere. The first pea gasped, wow, it's beautiful here. The second nodded, yes, sunlight, fresh air, real space. The third smiled softly, it was a wise decision to leave the pod. The fourth yawned, where's a good place to sleep? And the fifth P, eyes full of wonder, heart glowing like a tiny lantern, said, we were living on a bridge, so high above the ground. Look at this world, look how big it is. They were so amazed, so dazzled, so lost in the beauty of their new home, they didn't see him coming. A boy, barefoot, running through the garden, a little grin on his face, a slingshot in his hand. He stopped. He stared. His eyes gleamed. Aha! He said. These peas are perfect for my slingshot. Round, smooth, just right. I should pick them up. Before the peas could even react, a hand swooped down. A shadow fell over them. Warm sunlight turned cold. The first pea screamed, no. No. Put me down. But it was too late. FWIP. The slingshot snapped. The first pea shot into the sky. Flying, spinning, disappearing far, far away, the others could not even see where he landed. The second pea trembled as the boy grabbed him. Please, please don't. FWIP. Off he flew. Gone. The third pea sobbed, this boy is killing us, just for fun. FWIP. Gone. The fourth pea barely opened his sleepy eyes and muttered, I wish to fall somewhere. I can sleep without disturbance. FWIP. And he vanished. Then came the fifth pea. The smallest. The bravest. The one who loved every sound in the world. The boy lifted him. The pea felt the wind, the sky, the thrill. He whispered, wow. I'm flying, like a butterfly. My destiny, take me somewhere beautiful. FWIP. He soared. Higher than the rest. Longer. Farther. Clouds below him. Sun above him. Wind singing in his ears. Then slowly, gently, he began to fall, down, 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 and landed. Not on soil. Not on grass. Not in the wild. But on a small windowsill. Wooden. Old. Quiet. Brightened by morning sun. The little pea blinked. He looked around. Then, through the window, he saw her. A little girl. Lying in bed. Pale. Weak. Coughing softly. Her mother sat beside her, holding a bowl of soup, eyes full of worry. Please eat, dear, the mother begged. It will make you stronger. The girl shook her head, I'm sorry, mother. I don't feel like eating. If you don't eat, her mother whispered, how will you become strong again? How will you fight this illness? The pea watched. And his tiny heart ached. He felt sadness for them. He felt something tug inside him. Something gentle. Something brave. That night, when the moon rose full and bright, when the world turned silver again, the pea made his choice. He would help. Night fell softly, like a curtain of velvet drifting across the sky. The moon rose slowly, bright, round, full, a glowing drum in the heavens. Its light spilled across the windowsill, across the garden, across the tiny pea who lay there, thinking, worrying, hoping. Inside the room, the little girl slept. Her breaths were shallow, her cough faint, her face pale like moonlight without warmth. Her mother, exhausted, sat in a chair. Hands folded, head bowed. She whispered a prayer into the night, "Please, help my child, I beg you, give her strength, give her hope, give her life." The pea heard every word. And something stirred deep inside him. Courage. Compassion. A spark of purpose. He looked up at the full moon and whispered, "Moon, tonight, please, play your drums for me." And the moon listened. A low hum began. A distant pulse. Then, boom, 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 soft at first. Then louder, deeper, stronger. The pea felt the rhythm, felt it running through him like heartbeat. And he began to sing. Bang, 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 listen, what I sang. Bang, 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 listen, what I sang. His tiny voice floated through the window, through the quiet room, to the little girl's ears. She stirred. Her eyes fluttered open. Who is it?" she whispered. "I heard something, someone." The pea called out softly, "It's me, I'm here, on the window." The girl blinked in disbelief. "A pea, talking you can speak," she whispered. The pea laughed gently, "Of course. I can speak, and I can sing too." Sing. "The song you heard, that was me." "But," the girl coughed lightly, "the drums. You said, the moon plays them." The pea nodded proudly, "Yes. When the moon is full, he plays the drums. Boom, boom, boom." "But I can't hear them," the girl whispered sadly. "I've never heard the moon." The pea smiled softly, "You will, everyone can, if they listen with their heart." "Really?" Her eyes filled with a tiny spark. "Do you mean I can hear the moon too?" "Yes," the pea nodded. "Everything has music. The moon, the wind, even the silence. You only need to believe." The girl listened, focusing, breathing slowly. And then, her eyes widened. I can hear it," she whispered. "The drums, faint, but real, boom, boom." The pea beamed, "Didn't I tell you everything is possible?" But suddenly the girl's face fell. "No, not everything," she whispered. "There's one thing that's not possible for me." "What is it?" the pea asked gently. "I can't get better." Her voice trembled. "No matter how much I wish, I want to be cured." The pea went silent for a moment. Then he stood tall. As tall as a tiny pea could. "Don't say that," he said. "What if I become something else, something more than a pea? If I can change, why can't you?" The girl frowned. "But you're just a pea. You can't become anything else." "Oh, I can." The pea nodded confidently. "If I believe, I can become anything. And if I become something new, will you believe you can heal too?" The girl hesitated. Her eyes searched the little pea, his bravery, his glow, his strange, warm certainty. "If you change," she whispered, "then yes, I'll believe I can get well too." The pea smiled. A small smile, but full of promise. "Then it's a deal," he said. "I will change, I will become something new, and you will believe, you will fight, you will get strong." The girl nodded slowly. Tears glimmering. Hope flickering like a candle in the dark. She drifted back to sleep, gentler this time. Calmer. Wrapped in moonlight, and the memory of a talking pea. The pea turned to the night. The cold air. the long winter ahead. He whispered to himself, I must keep my word, no matter how hard, no matter how long. And the moon, still beating its drums, seemed to answer, boom, boom, boom. Go on, little pea, go on. Morning came slowly, soft light, cold air, a quiet world. The little girl woke up first. Her eyes searched the windowsill. Her heart still warm from the dreamlike conversation. But the pea wasn't there. She blinked. Looked again. Pressed her face closer to the glass. Nothing. The windowsill was empty. She whispered to herself, maybe it was just a dream. How can a pea speak? How can a pea sing? But something inside her, something tiny, fragile, warm, told her it wasn't a dream. Told her it was real. Still, she sighed softly. Then whispered, I wish he didn't disappear. Meanwhile, outside the window, the pea lay hidden, covered in dust, wrapped in cold air. Alone. He had crawled. Slowly, painfully, determined. To the narrow crack where soil met wood. The girl believed in him. She trusted him. She gave him hope, so he would give her proof. He had promised. And he would keep that promise. Even if it hurt. Even if it took days. Even if winter tried to break him. Cold winds blew. Dust swirled. Nights grew longer. The pea whispered to himself every day, I can do this, just a little more, for her hope. He pushed deeper into the soil. Tiny body trembling. Skin cracking. Cold biting. The first frost came. White. Silent. Merciless. Snowflakes fell on him. Soft at first, then heavy, then heavier. The nights felt endless. But he stayed. He endured. He refused to quit. I promised. He whispered, voice almost gone. I won't give up. Winter thickened. A blanket of snow covered everything. The world outside grew still. Empty. Harsh. But under that cold, under that weight, under the silence, something was happening. A change. A shift. A spark. The pea, frozen on the outside, held a flame on the inside. The flame of belief. Of hope. Of promise. Day after day, night after night, he clung to that flame. And then, one morning, the first warm breeze of spring whispered over the windowsill. Snow melted. Ice cracked. Light returned. And deep beneath the soil, the pea felt it. Life. A tremor. A pulse. A push. He gathered every bit of strength, every memory, every promise, and grew. Just a little. Then a little more. Then more. A tiny green tip poked out of the soil. Shivering. Shy. But alive. Then it rose higher. Unfolded. Reached for the sun. A sprout. Fresh. New. Beautiful. Small leaves. Thin stem. A single twist of green seeking the sky. The pea was no longer a pea. He had changed. He had become something more. Something alive. Growing. Real. A pea plant. Delicate, but determined. Inside the house, the mother opened the window to let the spring air in. She gasped softly. Look, dear. She said gently. There's something at the windowsill. The girl slowly sat up. She walked to the window. Weak, but curious. Hope fluttering again. And then she saw it. A tiny sprout. Bright green. New. Full of life. Her eyes widened. Her breath caught. She whispered, "He kept his promise." Her mother blinked, confused. Who kept their promise? The pea. The girl whispered. Her voice cracked. He said he would change, he said he would become something else, and he did. She pressed her hand to her chest. Tears filled her eyes. Not from sadness, but from something gentler. Hope. If he can change, she whispered, then maybe I can too. Her mother embraced her gently. Yes, my child, yes, you can get better, you will. The girl smiled. For the first time in a long time. She looked at the sprout. She whispered softly, "Thank you, little pea." And outside, the young plant swayed gently in the breeze, as if answering, "Believe, just believe." Morning arrived gently, soft sunlight poured into the room, golden, warm, alive. The little girl opened her eyes slowly. She blinked. She breathed. She felt different. Lighter. Warmer, stronger. Not healed completely, but something inside her had shifted. A tiny spark, glowing softly. She turned her head toward the windowsill. The pea was gone. For a moment, her heart sank. Maybe it was just a dream. But then, her eyes drifted down. To the edge of the window. To the soil just beneath it. Green. A sprout. A small sprout. Delicate. Fresh. Alive. Her breath caught. Hey, a plant. She whispered. Her mother entered the room holding fresh soup. Before she could speak, the girl pointed with trembling excitement. "Mother, look, a pea sprout, right outside our window." Her mother came closer. She leaned in. She smiled with gentle surprise. "Oh my, how beautiful," she whispered. "But, how did it grow here?" The girl didn't answer at first. She stepped closer. Her hand pressed lightly to the window pane. Her eyes softened. "He kept his promise," she whispered. "Who?" her mother asked. The girl turned, tears in her eyes, not sad tears, but tears of hope. "The pea," she said softly. "He said he would become something new, so I would believe I could be healed." Her mother, confused yet touched, knelt beside her. "My dear, are you saying a pea spoke to you?" The girl nodded. Calmly. Truthfully. With full belief. "Yes. And he became this sprout, to show me I can change too." Her mother looked at the tiny plant again. She didn't fully understand, but she saw something real in her daughter's face. Strength. Courage. Hope. Then, her mother whispered, "If a pea can grow into a plant, my daughter can grow strong again." The girl smiled. A soft, glowing smile she hadn't worn in weeks. She took the bowl of soup from her mother's hands. "I'll eat, Mother." Her voice was steady. "I'll fight. I'll get better." Her mother's eyes filled with grateful tears. She kissed her daughter's forehead. "Thank you, my brave girl, thank you." Outside the window, the sprout stood in the sunlight. Tiny. Quiet. But full of life. The pea now root and stem and leaf felt the warmth of the sun, and he smiled silently. "I did it," he whispered inside his green little heart. "She believes, she's healing, she's alive." Days passed. The girl grew stronger. The pea plant grew taller. Every morning she greeted it, every evening she whispered thanks. And the plant swayed gently in the breeze, as if bowing back to her. 2 lives. 1 human, 1 pea. Both saved by a promise whispered under moonlight. Both growing, changing, living, together. Have you ever wondered why some people gather so much knowledge, yet make the worst decisions, while others, who seem simple and quiet, somehow stay safe and wise? This story might give you an answer and maybe even change the way you see wisdom. Sam, Vash, Jivan, and Bud were 4 young Brahmins who had grown up together since they were children. Their village was small, peaceful, and almost hidden between thick forests and quiet rivers. Life there was simple. People farmed, cooked, prayed, and supported one another. But the 4 boys had bigger dreams. Every morning, before the sun was even fully awake, they walked deep into the forest to learn from an old sage. The sage lived alone, in a tiny hut made from mud and straw, surrounded by old trees that whispered whenever the wind passed by. He wore simple clothes and walked slowly, but everyone who came to him felt a strange, warm calmness, like he carried the whole world inside his mind. And indeed, he was very wise. Sam, Vash, and G even loved showing off their talents to him. Sam repaired anything, no matter how broken. Villagers often joked that even if their pottery turned to dust, Sam would bring it back. Vash could heal wounds without touching them. A single murmur of his words and cuts closed, bruises faded, and pain disappeared. Jivan, the most ambitious of the 3, could attach anything dead back to where it came from: leaves to trees, petals to flowers, even the feather of a bird that had fallen from its wing. They were proud, confident, sometimes even arrogant. But Bud tried. He listened harder than anyone. He practiced longer than anyone. But his mind worked differently. He wasn't slow, just thoughtful. He questioned everything. He needed more time to understand what others understood in a minute. The other 3 teased him every day. "Bud can talk to broken pots," Sam joked. "But the pots never talk back," Vash added. Jivan laughed the loudest. At this rate, Bud's only skill will be sitting quietly. But Bud never complained. He actually enjoyed listening more than speaking. And he listened most carefully to the sage's teachings. One afternoon, after a lesson, Bud asked the sage, "Guruji, what is common sense?" The sage smiled gently. "Common sense is simply thinking before you act." Bud held onto those words with both hands, like something precious. Time passed, and the boys grew older. One warm morning, when the sky was glowing orange, the 3 talented boys decided they had learned all they could from the sage. "This village is too small for us now," Jivan announced proudly. "We need to see the world." Sam and Vash agreed immediately. They wanted fame, success, and admiration. They wanted people to look at them and say, "Those 3 are the most learned men in the land." At first, they didn't want Bud to come. "He will slow us down," Vash muttered. He is useless, Sam whispered. But Jivan, though proud, had a soft spot for Bud. He has no one else, he said. Let him come. We are stronger, we must protect him. So the four packed food, water, blankets, and began their journey the next morning. As they walked away from the village, the sage stood at the forest's edge and watched them. My children, he said, remember, a wise man thinks before he acts. The three repeated the words quickly, almost carelessly. Bud repeated them slowly, carefully, as if carving the words into his heart. They set off. Birds sang above them, the forest floor glowed with sunlight, and the air smelled of earth and leaves. For hours they walked, laughing, arguing, sharing stories. By noon, they were hungry and tired. Let us rest here, Sam said, pointing to a shady spot beside a large flat rock. As they settled down, Bud noticed something on the ground nearby, a heap of bones. What is that? Bud asked, stepping closer. Jivan rolled his eyes. Bud, it's just bones. Don't be afraid. But Sam knelt beside the pile and examined it like a treasure. These are lion bones, he said. I can tell just by the shape. A dangerous excitement filled his voice. What if I rebuild it? Sam said. Right now in front of you. Bud felt something twist in his stomach. A strange, cold feeling. A warning. But he said nothing yet. Without waiting, Sam began chanting. His voice echoed through the forest. A warm, glowing light surrounded the bones, and slowly, they shifted, changed, and locked together. Within seconds, a perfect skeleton stood before them. Vash stepped forward immediately. That was impressive, he said, but watch what I can do. His chanting was louder, deeper. Flesh grew over the bones, thick muscles, skin, fur, claws, sharp teeth. It was no longer a skeleton. It was a real lion, lying still on the ground, as if asleep. Bud backed away. His heart hammered against his chest. Enough, he whispered. Let us leave it. But Jivan laughed. Leave it when I can bring it to life. He raised his hands and looked at Sam and Vash. This will be the greatest proof of my skill. The forest suddenly felt too quiet. Even the wind stopped. Bud stepped forward, voice shaking, but strong. Please, don't do this. Think before you act. A living lion is not a toy. Skills are not for showing off. But the three burst into laughter. Bud, you know nothing, Vash said. You have no magic, Sam added. You're just afraid, Jivan finished. Bud knew there was no way to stop them now. So he did the only thing he could. He climbed a nearby tree. Call me a coward, Bud said softly, but if something happens, I want to live. The moment his feet reached a strong branch, Jivan began chanting. The light flashed. The lion opened its eyes. At first, it didn't move. Its chest slowly rose and fell. Its eyes glowed like burning amber. Then it lifted its head. And then, a roar ripped through the forest, shaking the branches and sending birds flying in panic. The three boys froze. Run! Sam screamed, but his legs wouldn't move. The lion leapt. Claws slashed. Teeth tore. The forest filled with the desperate cries of the boys who had been so proud just moments before. From the tree, Bud sobbed silently. He wanted to help, but he knew he couldn't fight a lion with his bare hands. Within minutes, it was over. The lion, satisfied, walked away slowly, disappearing between the trees. Bud waited. 5 minutes. 10. 15. Only when his shaking stopped did he climb down. He kneeled beside what was left of his friend's bones scattered on the ground, just as they had found the lion. He closed his eyes and whispered, "If only you had remembered Guruji's words." Bud gathered stones and built a small mound over their remains. He whispered a prayer for each of them: Sam, Vash, Jivan, boys he had grown up with, laughed with, learned with. When he returned to the village, the sage was waiting. The old man looked at Bud's empty hands, his tired face, and the sadness in his eyes. "You have seen something terrible," the sage said gently. Bud nodded. "Guruji, I didn't have their skills. I couldn't heal, or rebuild, or bring anything to life. But I remembered your teaching. And that saved me." The sage placed a hand on Bud's shoulder, pride shining in his eyes. "My child," he said, "wisdom is the greatest skill. You have what they lack, the ability to think before you act. That is why you returned." Years passed. Bud grew older, kinder, and wiser. People from faraway villages came to him not for magic, not for special powers, but for advice, for guidance, for comforting words. Bud became known across the land not as the boy with no talent, but as the man of true wisdom. And whenever someone asked him how he learned so much, Bud always gave the same gentle answer: "I simply learned to think before I act." The sun blazed high. The sand stretched forever. Hot, unending, sweat dripping, burning skin. "Basinthi," he muttered, his throat dry. "We must find the lamp that chooses, the lamp that only accepts the one in a million." The desert was merciless, shifting dunes, scorching wind, mirages dancing in the distance, every step heavier than the last. He clutched the compass. Bulbul's gift. The small golden compass, but now, it was gone, stolen. "Where is it?" he yelled. "Basinthi. The compass, my map, everything." A flutter of movement, a shadow, a girl, clutching something, a book, "A bag, you thief!" he shouted. "You took my belongings. Return them." Her eyes sparkled, daring, mischievous. "Belongings? What do you mean? This is mine. My mother taught me." He stammered. "Never take from strangers." She smirked. "And why do you need permission? Do you think you can tell me what's mine?" He shook his head. You are no princess of Baghdad either." Her laugh, sharp, clear. "Princess, no. But perhaps I'm more clever than you think." Tension crackled, the air thick with heat, with anger, with thirst. "My bag, my compass, that book!" he shouted again. "You will pay for this, thief." She ignored him, flipping through the pages. "This is no ordinary book, no ordinary stone. Look, it works as a compass, a magical compass, but only under the moonlight." He stared, disbelief, rage, confusion. Moonlight, and now how will I find the path? Basinthi tugged his sleeve, weak, tired. We are lost, stranded, in the desert, because of her. He clenched his fists. No. I cannot. I will not fall weak, she will regret this. I swear. Water, the word echoed in his mind. Water. 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 His throat burned, his lips cracked, his knees buckled. Thank God. He whispered. For life, for chance. But the girl, the thief, the mischief maker, she smiled, calm, untouchable. You are in the desert now, lost, sweating, dreaming, but I can help, if you follow me. He glared, suspicion mixed with hope. Why should I trust you? She laughed again. Because, without me, you'll die here, like the others who sought the lamp. The desert stretched endlessly, but somehow, following her seemed safer than wandering alone. The desert seemed endless, the heat, the thirst, the sand like fire under their feet. The girl led them carefully, eyes alert, scanning every movement, every ripple in the dunes. Why are you helping us? Aladdin asked, voice hoarse, trembling. Because, she said, mysterious. Without me, you'll never reach the lamp, and I want to see it for myself. Basinthi shivered. It's all dangerous, everything, the stories, the guardian, the obstacles. Aladdin's heart pounded. Guardian, obstacles. He had heard whispers, legends of the lamp, only the bravest survived, and now, it seemed, the first trial awaited. A village appeared on the horizon, strange, almost unreal, green-eyed villagers, faces serene, yet, piercing. Khatrapur, the village of illusions. The girl stopped. This is it, the first obstacle, the village that swallows those who enter. No one has ever left, alive, sane. Aladdin gulped. The stories, they were true, every word. The villagers approached, slow steps, polite, yet unsettling. You are our guests, one said, voice melodic. Come, rest, eat. Aladdin noticed, their eyes, green, unnatural, hypnotic. He turned to the girl. Why are they so strange? They call strangers their king, or queen. Every 10 years, whoever steps here first, becomes the ruler, for 10 years. She whispered. Aladdin's eyes widened. Ruler here. A villager smiled. And you, step first, so you are, our queen. Basinthi gasped. Queen. Aladdin's jaw dropped. I cannot. I am not. The villagers clapped, cheered, chanting Queen. 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 The girl tugged him aside. Do not be fooled, this crown, it brings madness, those who wear it, lose their mind, some die. Aladdin's heart raced. We must break it, before sunset. But the villagers, persistent, eager, cheerful. Our queen, sit, eat, accept your crown. He looked at Basinthi, panic rising. We cannot, this is a trap, this is madness. The girl smirked. You cannot disobey, without arousing suspicion, or danger. Aladdin stepped forward reluctantly, the crown placed upon his head, heavy, cold, alien, a strange sensation, dizziness, voices echoing, whispering. Queen. 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 He stumbled. Basinthi, the crown, it changes, everything. The villagers celebrated, unaware of his fear, of the subtle horror creeping into his mind. The girl whispered urgently. "You must break it, or we are doomed." The sun sets, and sanity fades, forever. Aladdin's hands shook, sweat poured, sand clung to his skin, heart pounding like a drum. Suddenly, a shadow moved, one of the villagers, tall, imposing, green eyes glinting. "Who dares disturb our queen?" the voice boomed, commanding, frightening. Aladdin swallowed, terror and resolve clashing. I must destroy this crown." The girl handed him a small hammer, light, unassuming, yet it felt magical, like destiny itself. He raised it, hesitated, and struck. The crown cracked, splintered, shards falling to the ground. A silence. Then, the villagers froze, eyes wide, fear replacing cheer. Aladdin exhaled, relief, barely, the danger not gone. Katrapur still full of illusions, still alive, still deadly, but for now, the first trial, survived, barely. He turned to the girl. We must move, now, before anyone recovers." She nodded, mischievous, serious. "Yes, the desert awaits, and the lamp, still waits." The crown lay shattered, shards glinting under the scorching sun. Aladdin wiped sweat from his brow, heart still racing. "Basinthi, we survived, but only just," he muttered. The girl smirked. "Katrapur is tricky, illusions everywhere, traps hidden, not all villagers are as they seem." Aladdin's stomach churned. "I don't like this place, their eyes, their smiles, something is wrong." They moved quickly, sand crunching under their feet, whispers following them. "Queen! Queen!" A sudden gust, dust swirling, the horizon bending, mirages forming. "Stay close!" the girl shouted, tugging them through the shifting dunes. Then, from the sand, shadows emerged, strange creatures, goats, no, not goats, green-eyed beasts, staring, judging, blocking the path. Aladdin froze, heart thundering. What are these? They're guardians of Katrapur, not just the crown. Every corner, every creature, tests you. She explained, voice tense. The creatures surrounded them, hooves clattering, eyes glowing, almost human, almost alive. Basinthi clutched Aladdin's arm, trembling. "We're trapped." "No." Aladdin shouted. "We fight, we must fight. For the lamp, for survival." He picked up a stick, wielded it. The girl threw sand in their eyes, blinding them, startling them. The creatures screamed, hooves stamped, dust everywhere. A path opened. They ran, dodging, leaping, barely keeping their balance. Suddenly, a voice, deep, booming. "Who dares enter Katrapur, and defy its queen?" Aladdin stopped, froze, looking at the figure, tall, cloaked, eyes glowing green. "Guardian of the lamp, yes, it is I," the girl whispered. "The protector, the one who never lets anyone pass, only the worthy, those with honesty, bravery, and kindness." Aladdin swallowed. I have these. I must reach the lamp." The figure laughed, chilling, echoing through the sand. "Many have claimed these virtues, few have truly possessed them, 1 in a million, only one can pass." The guardian raised a hand, and suddenly, the desert shifted, dunes rose, sands fell, illusions twisting, reality bending. Aladdin felt dizzy, the world spinning, heat burning, thirst tearing, visions of failure, despair, death. "Focus!" Basinthi yelled, grabbing his arm. Remember Bulbul's compass, remember the lamp, your courage, your heart. He nodded, clenched fists, stepped forward, each step a battle, against the sand, the illusions, the whispers in his mind. The guardian loomed closer, shadow swallowing them, voice like thunder. Prove your worth, or perish. Aladdin looked at the girl, she nodded, not smiling this time, serious. This is it, one chance, your heart, your soul, your truth. He took a deep breath, closed his eyes, reached inside, for honesty, bravery, kindness, and then, he ran, straight through the illusions, through the guardians, unflinching, determined, heart pure. The sand parted, the illusions shattered, the green eyes faded, the guardian's voice softened, approving. You are worthy. The voice said, echoing less, fading, before them, shining in the golden light, the lamp, glowing, magical, waiting, silent, ancient, powerful. Aladdin fell to his knees, awe, relief, wonder. We found it, the lamp. Basinthi gasped. It's real, it's truly real. The girl smiled. Only one can hold it, only one can command it. Remember, honesty, bravery, kindness. Aladdin reached out, fingers trembling, feeling the warmth, the energy, the destiny. The desert wind calmed, the sun dipped lower, shadows stretched, but danger was not over. The guardian still watched, other trials hidden, obstacles yet unseen. Aladdin whispered. For us, for the lamp. I will succeed, no matter what. And with that, he lifted the lamp, light glimmering, power humming, hope rising. Aladdin held the lamp, trembling, heart racing. This is it. He whispered, awe and fear mingling. Basinthi's eyes widened. Be careful, you don't know its power. The girl looked serious now. One wrong move, one selfish thought, and it can destroy everything, everything. Aladdin took a deep breath, focused, remembered Bulbul's words, honesty, bravery, kindness. Guardian, protector. I am worthy. He murmured, feeling the lamp's warmth seeping into his fingers. Suddenly, a roar, a shadow, the ground shook, dunes collapsing, sand swirling like a storm. You dare take the lamp, a voice thundered. The guardian reappeared, immense, terrifying, green eyes burning. Aladdin stood tall. Yes. I will take it, for good, for everyone, not for myself. The guardian laughed, chilling, echoing through the desert. Many claimed this, few meant it, few pure of heart. Prove it, now. The sand shifted violently, illusions reappeared, villagers from Katrapur, some laughing, some angry, faces green-eyed, distorted. Aladdin's mind raced, he saw the girl. Basinthi, his family, the people he had met, the innocent, those who needed help. This is why I am here. He shouted. Not for power, not for glory, for them. The guardian advanced, testing him, illusions striking, sand stinging, visions of failure and death. Aladdin dodged, leaped, ducked, heart steady, courage burning, kindness guiding him. A sudden flash, the lamp glowed brighter, warm, golden light surrounding him. The guardian halted, hovering, eyes softening, approving. You have the heart of steel, the soul of purity, honesty, bravery, kindness. The guardian's voice rumbled, fading. Aladdin exhaled, relief, exhaustion, triumph, but danger was still near. A shadow moved. The girl whispered urgently. Aladdin, watch out, the lamp's power attracts greed, others will try to take it. Before he could react, a group of mysterious figures appeared, cloaked, eyes glinting, weapons raised. They wanted the lamp, for themselves, for power, for greed. Aladdin's heart thudded. Basinthi, stay behind me. He held the lamp high, light radiating, almost blinding, magical energy pulsating. The attackers charged, but the lamp's light repelled them, a shield of pure energy, justice, courage, truth. The girl gasped. It's working. Your heart, your intention, the lamp answers. Aladdin's hands shook, but he kept focus, the lamp humming, responding, alive, aware. The attackers fell back, blinded, disoriented, retreating, vanished into the sand. Aladdin looked at the girl. We did it, we survived, the lamp is ours, safely for now. Basinthi ran to him. I cannot believe, we actually made it? The girl nodded. The desert. Khatrapur, the guardian, all tests, it was never easy, you were 1 in a million, that is why the lamp chose you. Aladdin's gaze softened. Then, it is not just power, it is responsibility, wisdom, heart, we must use it wisely. Suddenly, a distant sound, a cry, the villagers from Khatrapur, trapped, needing help. Aladdin and Basinthi exchanged a glance, decision made, courage renewed. We must help them, even after all they put us through, even after the danger. He said firmly. The girl smiled faintly, approving. That is why you are worthy, the lamp has chosen right, the test is not just survival, it is your heart. Together, they ran across the dunes, toward Khatrapur, light from the lamp guiding them, wind at their backs, courage in their hearts. The sun began to set, long shadows stretching across the desert. Aladdin whispered to the lamp. Show me the way, show us the way, and protect us. A warm glow, a path appeared, hidden roots, safe passage, the desert no longer a prison, but a path to hope. Basinthi held his hand. I always knew, you would be the one, brave, honest, kind. The girl grinned. And now, the lamp is yours, truly yours, but remember, the journey is far from over, power can tempt, greed can follow, always stay true. Aladdin nodded, resolve firm, heart steady, light of the lamp reflecting in his eyes. They stepped forward, into the unknown, into adventure, into destiny. The desert wind whispered, soft, approving, the lamp glowing, ancient magic, alive, waiting, ready, and somewhere, far away, the guardian watched, satisfied. The first trials passed, the worthy chosen, the lamp safe. For now, the desert lay silent, golden sands stretching endlessly, the sun dipping low, shadows long and cold. Aladdin stood, lamp in hand, heart pounding, body exhausted, yet triumphant. Basinthi clung to him, whispering, we made it, we really made it. The girl, once mischievous, now serious. This is just the beginning, the lamp is powerful, the guardian watches, others may come. Aladdin nodded, resolve steady. I know. I must protect it, protect the people, and do what is right. From afar, a lone figure knelt on the sand, hands folded, eyes closed, murmuring, Dear Lord, wherever my Aladdin is, protect him, guide him, keep him safe. The wind stirred, carrying the prayer, whispering through the dunes, soft, solemn, alive. The girl glanced at the figure, uneasy. He prays, yet destiny is never simple. Aladdin looked toward the horizon, sensing something, a shadow, a presence. Basinthi held his hand tightly. "What is it?" The figure's voice, faint, trembling. The boy is gone." Aladdin froze, disbelief. "Gone? No, that cannot be." The girl whispered, tense. "Listen, it's what they say, but, in this desert, nothing is certain, truth and illusion, intertwine." The wind blew stronger, sand swirling, the lamp's glow pulsing, almost alive, responding, waiting. The lone figure sighed, voice barely audible. "The boy is dead." A chill ran down Aladdin's spine, yet hope flickered. He gripped the lamp, heart steady, courage renewed. Basinthi whispered, "We cannot lose him, not now, not ever." The desert stretched endlessly, silent, mysterious. The sun set behind the dunes, and somewhere, far away, the guardian watched, approving, aware, knowing, the lamp chosen, destiny unfolding. Aladdin lifted the lamp, golden light spilling over the sands, magic humming, power alive. The final words echoed in the wind, soft, haunting, uncertain. "The boy is dead." Aladdin's heart thudded, questions, fear, yet determination, burning. The adventure was far from over, the mystery unsolved, the lamp still waiting. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there stood a castle, tall as the sky, shining like morning snow, and inside that castle lived Snow White, Prince Antoine, and the 7 dwarves, together, like one big, cheerful family. The sun was warm that day, the breeze gentle, the birds singing little melodies across the treetops. Snow White and Prince Antoine saddled their horses, smiling, laughing, ready for a peaceful morning ride. The dwarves, too, decided to take a walk, whistling, chatting, bouncing down the forest trail, not knowing, not even imagining, that someone was watching them. A tiny figure hid behind a tree, a dwarf girl, with bright white hair, a sprinkle of freckles across her cheeks, and eyes full of fear. She pressed herself deeper into the shadows, afraid of the tall horses, afraid of the royal guards, afraid of being seen at all. Days passed. Deep inside Hela's cave, where darkness curled like smoke, Dunkov was still trying desperately, to turn Queen Hela back into a human again. He flipped through spell books, muttered magic words, waved his hands in every direction. Bippity, boppity, boo. A spark flew. A puff of smoke rose. A croaking frog blinked up at him. "My dear queen." Dunkov stuttered, I have the perfect idea. A young prince's kiss. I read it in a fairy tale." Queen Hela raised an eyebrow, but she let him try. Dunkov opened the youth spell, whispered the ancient words. Spell, spell, see my big tooth, give me the spell of youth. A flash. A swirl. A boom. And suddenly, Dunkov stood there as a handsome young prince, tall, sharp-jawed, glowing with magic. Even he was shocked. "Wow!" he whispered, touching his face. He leaned down, lifted the frog gently, placed a tiny kiss. Poof! The frog vanished in a swirl of green smoke. And Queen Hela stood where it once sat, back in her full, terrifying form. "Well done, she snapped. Who would be thought you had the brains to do it? Dunkov smiled shyly. I suppose I look rather good like this. But with a flick of her hand, a cold rush of wind, a shimmer of dark magic, she turned him right back into himself again. Enough nonsense, she hissed. But then, something caught her eye, muddy footprints, fresh ones, leading across the cave floor. Dunkov, don't move, she whispered. She followed the prints, step by step, till they disappeared behind a heavy bookshelf, with a push. A thud. The shelf swung aside, and behind it, curled up and trembling, was the little dwarf girl with white hair and freckles. You. Hela growled. Who are you? What are you doing in my cave? Speak. The tiny dwarf stepped out, shaking like a leaf. I'm sorry. I was cold, lost. I needed a place to sleep. I was looking for the cottage of the 7 dwarves, but I lost my way. Name? Hela demanded. Freckled. The dwarf whispered. Hela's eyes gleamed, slowly, dangerously. Freckled. I can help you, she said with a fake smile curling across her lips. The 7 dwarves no longer live in their little forest cottage, they live in a castle now. Snow White's castle. A castle? Freckled breathed. Yes, Hela said, lowering her voice. And they're quite full of themselves. Probably too busy, too happy, to care that a tiny dwarf girl wandered the forest alone. No. Freckled whispered, her heart sinking. See for yourself. Hela waved her hand over a crystal ball. Inside the swirling glass, Freckled saw Snow White, Prince Antoine, and the 7 dwarves, laughing, smiling, enjoying a grand life inside the castle, and suddenly, Freckled felt something deep inside, a sting, a sadness, a feeling of being left out, unwanted. Hela leaned closer. Let me tell you a secret, if you want them to like you, if you want them to welcome you, all you need is to do something nice for Snow White. Hela reached into a drawer, pulled out a shiny, elegant comb. Here. Brush her hair with this. She will love it. And you will become as popular as she is. Freckled's eyes widened. For me? Yes, take it, Hela urged. But what she did not say was this: the comb had been poisoned. Cursed. Enchanted with a spell that would make Snow White turn ugly, old, unrecognizable the moment it touched her hair. Freckled, innocent and unaware, slipped the comb into her little bag, and Hela smiled her wicked smile. As Freckled walked through the forest, a beautiful bird fluttered above her, colorful wings shimmering like a rainbow. A single feather drifted down, softly, slowly, landing right into her hand. She tucked it into her hair. And instantly, her white curls transformed, turning golden blonde, bright as sunlight. She gasped. She touched her glowing hair. Beautiful, she whispered. Meanwhile, on the same forest path, the 7 dwarfs were returning from the mine, happy, singing, marching together, till suddenly they froze. I think someone's there, Bashful murmured. They peeked between the trees, and saw a small dwarf girl with golden hair, bright as morning light. They hurried over, excited, amazed. "Hello. Hi. Who are you? You're beautiful." Freckled blushed, harder and harder, especially when Shy shook her hand and turned beet red himself. "Would you like to come to the castle sometime?" he stuttered. I would love that," Freckled said softly. Far, far away, inside her cave, Hella watched everything through the swirling crystal ball, her grin spreading wider. "Perfect," she whispered. "Everything is going exactly as planned." The dwarves escorted Freckled to the castle. For the first time in her life, she saw it. Tall towers, glowing gardens, sparkling fountains. Snow White stepped outside, smiling warmly. "Oh. Hello. We have a new friend today." Freckled bowed nervously. "My name is Freckled, Princess." "Welcome," Snow White said. "You have such beautiful hair, so soft, so silky." Freckled's face lit up. "Thank you. Would you like me to comb your hair up? I brought something for you." Snow White giggled gently. "That would be lovely." And so, with innocent hands and a pure heart, Freckled lifted the poisoned comb. She reached up, she touched Snow White's hair, and then everything changed. Snow White gasped. Her hair turned white. Her skin wrinkled. Her face aged decades in seconds. "No, no, what is happening to me?" she cried. The dwarves shouted, panicked, grabbed the comb, threw it into the water. Far from Snow White's touch, Freckled fell to her knees. I didn't know it was poisonous. A woman Hella, she gave it to me. I'm so sorry, please believe me." But then, Freckled remembered. "The feather," she whispered. "Princess, I can fix this." She pulled the magical feather from her hair, placed it gently onto Snow White's silver white curls. A light shimmered. Soft, glowing, warm, spreading over Snow White's face. Her skin smoothed, her hair darkened, her youth returned, her beauty bloomed again. Snow White took a deep breath. "Freckled, thank you. And remember, never take anything from strangers." Freckled nodded, tears sparkling in her eyes. And from that day on, she was welcomed, loved, cherished, living happily in the castle with her new friends. Far away, inside her dark cave, Queen Hella slammed her staff against the ground. She survived. Again. Why can't I win? Why does Snow White always escape? Her scream echoed through the forest. But the castle stood bright, glowing with life, and Snow White smiled once more. The night fell softly around the castle. Stars twinkled like tiny lanterns scattered across the sky. Snow White rested, safe, calm, while the dwarves whispered among themselves in the hallway. Freckled sat quietly, hands folded, heart beating fast. She still felt the weight of what had happened, the mistake she made, the danger Snow White faced, because of her. But Snow White, kind as always, opened the door and smiled gently. "Freckled, come in," she said softly. Freckled stepped inside, head lowered, eyes shimmering with guilt. Snow White sat on the edge of her bed, moonlight spilling like silver over her shoulders. "You didn't mean to hurt me," Snow White said. "I know that. Your heart is good." Freckled looked up slowly, her voice cracking. "But Princess, I trusted a stranger, and because of me, you suffered." Snow White reached out, placed her warm hand over Freckled's trembling ones. "Listen, even the kindest people can be tricked. What matters, is that you chose to save me, and that you told the truth." Freckled took a tiny breath. Her shoulders relaxed, a small smile tugged at her lips. Outside the room, the dwarves listened, nodding, agreeing, feeling their hearts soften toward her. Doc whispered, "She's one of us now." Bashful blushed, "She's, really nice." Grumpy grumbled, "Well, as long as she doesn't bring any more poison combs around." But even he cracked a tiny smile. Meanwhile, deep in the dark forest, far from the warmth of the castle, Queen Hela paced inside her cave, back and forth, her eyes blazed with fury, her magic crackled in the air. How did she undo the spell?" she snarled. A feather broke my curse." Dunkov stood nearby, hiding behind a cauldron, trying to look invisible. "My queen," he whispered. "Maybe the feather had ancient magic, or..." "Silence!" she snapped, slamming her staff down. Dunkov froze instantly. Hela stormed past shelves of potions, scrolls, crystals, everything rattling as she moved. "I will not be defeated by a girl, or 7 tiny dwarves, or some glowing bird feather." Her voice echoed against the cave walls, sharp, furious, trembling with dark magic. Dunkov swallowed. He inched closer. "My queen, maybe we should rest. You've used a lot of dark energy today." Hela stopped, turned slowly, her eyes narrowing. "Rest," she repeated coldly. "You want me to rest?" No, of course not, I just meant..." "Enough!" Hela shouted. A gust of wind blasted past him, knocking Dunkov headfirst into a pile of dusty spell books. Hela raised her staff, dark swirls twisting like shadows around her. "If good magic saved Snow White, then I will create something darker, something unstoppable, something no feather, no kiss, no dwarf, can undo." She stepped toward her bubbling cauldron, the liquid inside swirling like boiling night. "Snow White," she whispered, voice turning icy. "You may have escaped today, but the game is far from over." Far away, back at the castle, the dwarves gathered in the kitchen, the fireplace crackled, warm shadows danced across the stone floor, the smell of stew filled the air. Freckled stood near the table, still unsure if she truly belonged, but Happy walked up first, placing a bowl in front of her. "Here. Extra stew for our new friend," he said cheerfully. Sleepy yawned and patted the seat beside him. Sit, before I fall asleep again." Dopey waved excitedly, offering her a spoon he polished on his sleeve, though it didn't actually get cleaner. Freckled giggled softly. For the first time, she felt a little warmth growing inside her chest. The dwarves talked, laughed, shared silly stories from the mine. Doc dropped a pickaxe on his foot again. Hey! It was one time. And Grumpy yelled at a squirrel. That squirrel had an attitude. Freckled laughed. Really laughed. And the dwarves beamed. Later, as the night deepened, Snow White walked through the hall. She placed her hand gently on the stone walls, feeling how quiet and peaceful everything was again, but something bothered her. A tiny worry whispered inside her heart. That comb, that spell, that voice Freckled described. Hella. Snow White stepped out to the balcony, looking into the dark forest. Wind rustled the trees, owls hooted softly, clouds drifted across the sleepy night sky. I know you're out there, Snow White whispered. And I know you want to stop. Below the balcony, unseen by her, a pair of glowing red eyes flickered in the shadows of a faraway tree, watching, waiting, planning. Back inside, Freckled lay in her new room, a soft bed just for her, warm blankets, a window overlooking the garden. She touched the empty spot in her hair, where the magical feather once rested. It felt strange without it, like a piece of courage had been taken away. She whispered softly to herself. I want to let Hella trick me again. I want to let her hurt Snow White. Not ever. The moonlit room felt calm, safe, but outside, the darkness of the forest stirred. An owl fluttered its wings, the wind shifted, leaves trembled, and far, far away, in the depths of her cave, Hella began to laugh, a cold, echoing, bone-chilling laugh. Snow White, she hissed. You may have survived my poisonous comb, but my next plan will not fail. Her laughter rose higher, sharper, filling the cave with shadows that slithered along the stone, and so, while the castle slept peacefully, darkness prepared its next move. Quietly, slowly, relentlessly, the story was far from over. Morning came softly, gentle sunlight poured through the castle windows, painting the rooms with warm gold. Birds chirped outside, their songs fluttering across the gardens like tiny ribbons of sound. Inside her bedroom, Snow White stretched slowly, her reflection in the mirror looked normal again, bright, youthful, warm, but deep in her chest, a quiet worry remained. She brushed her hair gently, and each stroke reminded her how close she came, how easily beauty, life, peace, could be stolen away. Snow White placed the brush down, and stepped to the window, watching the forest swaying far beyond the castle walls. Hella, she whispered. I know you're planning something. I can feel it. Downstairs, the dwarves were already awake. Or at least, trying to be. Sleepy fell face first into his porridge. Dopey laughed so hard he snorted. Bashful turned red every time Freckled looked in his direction. Freckled sat between Happy and Doc, hands folded, back straight, trying so hard to behave like a proper castle resident, but inside, her heart was spinning like a little wheel. She still felt out of place, still unsure, still afraid that one mistake could make everyone push her away. When Snow White entered the hall, the dwarves cheered. Freckled straightened up instantly, face pink with nervousness. Good morning everyone, Snow White greeted softly. Did you all sleep well? A chorus of voices answered. Some cheerful, some sleepy, some grouchy. Snow White smiled, then turned to Freckled. "And how about you?" she asked gently. Freckled hesitated, her fingers twisting together. It was the first night in a real bed," she whispered. "It felt safe, Princess." Snow White's eyes softened. "I'm glad. You deserve to feel safe." Those simple words, warm, soft, sincere, made Freckled blink quickly to hide her watering eyes, but deep in the forest, fire crackled. Shadows twisted. Hella's anger thickened the air like smoke. Dunkuff sat on a stool, shivering as the cauldron bubbled dangerously behind him. "My queen, you haven't slept in 2 nights." "I don't need sleep," Hella snapped. "I need victory. I need a plan. I need Snow White gone." Dunkuff swallowed so hard it made a sound. Hella circled her cauldron, muttering to herself, her fingers trailing through the fumes, dark sparks snapping against her nails. "No more poisoned combs, no more foolish tricks, this time. I will strike at her heart." She paused, smiled slowly. A smile that looked like the curl of a serpent. "Yes," she hissed. "The dwarves. Her precious dwarves." Dunkuff's eyes widened. "Oh no, please no. Not the dwarves. They're so innocent, so tiny, so..." "Silence," Hella whispered. "But you're right. They are tiny. And that makes them perfect targets." A chill rolled across the cave, cold as winter breath. Back at the castle, Snow White led Freckled into the garden, a peaceful place full of soft petals and bright colors. Birds fluttered between branches, butterflies schemed the flowers, and sunlight warmed every corner. Freckled gasped softly. "It's so beautiful." Snow White nodded. "This is where I come, when I need to think, when I'm worried, when I feel something strange in my heart." Freckled listened quietly. Snow White's calm voice, her grace, her kindness, felt like sunlight through a window. "Princess," Freckled whispered. "Do you think Hella will come back?" Snow White paused. Her eyes moved toward the dark forest, where shadows danced under the trees. "Yes," she said softly, truthfully. "She will." Freckled's breath hitched. "But that doesn't mean she will win," Snow White added. She turned to Freckled, smiling gently, warmly. "Because none of us are alone." Freckled felt something rise in her chest, a tiny spark of courage, small, but growing. Later that afternoon, the dwarves returned from the mine, singing, arguing, tripping over each other. Grumpy carried the heaviest bag. Happy bounced along with a stick. Dopey hopped from rock to rock, but halfway down the forest path, they stopped. A breeze swept through the trees, cold, unnatural, whispering through leaves like a warning. Doc squinted ahead. "Does anyone feel something strange?" Bashful nodded. I feel like someone's watching." Sleepy yawned. "That's just the trees." But then, a branch snapped. A shadow flickered. Something moved quickly between the trunks. The dwarves froze. Even Grumpy's voice fell silent. Another shadow, lower this time, darker, slithering across the forest floor. Happy whispered, "That's not a squirrel." Suddenly, a cold wind rushed past them, blasting leaves into the air, knocking branches aside. Almost pushing the dwarves off their feet, Grumpy grabbed a tree root. "Hold on. Something's not right." Dopey clung to Bashful. Bashful clung to a bush. The bush was not helpful. And then, the wind stopped. Just like that. Quiet. Still. Too still. The dwarves gulped together. Behind a large rock, two red eyes blinked open, watching them, studying them, waiting. Back at the castle, Snow White felt a sudden chill run down her spine, sharp, surprising, like a whisper of danger carried by the wind. Freckled noticed instantly. "Princess, are you all right?" Snow White looked toward the forest, her heartbeat shifting, faint thunder echoing inside her chest. "The dwarves," she whispered. Freckled's eyes widened. "What about them?" Snow White didn't answer. She didn't need to. Something was wrong. Terribly, dangerously, wrong. The forest grew quieter, too quiet. Snow White felt it first, a strange stillness, like the whole world was holding its breath. The dwarfs felt it too, their tiny boots slowed, their eyes scanned the shadows. "Something's wrong," Grumpy muttered. But no one argued. Because they all felt it. A creeping cold, sliding between the trees. Snow White hugged the cloak around her shoulders, not from the cold, but from a fear she couldn't name. Still, she tried to smile for them. "Don't worry. I'm safe with you." Her voice trembled, just a little. Doc nodded quickly, trying to be brave for her. Absolutely. With us here, nothing bad can." But he didn't finish. Because something shivered through the branches above them, a whisper, a soft, slithering whisper, a voice, distant, but familiar. "Snow White." She froze. Her heart stopped. Her breath caught in her throat. The dwarfs rushed in front of her, forming a tiny barricade with enormous courage. "Who's there? Show yourself. Come out if you dare." But the whisper wasn't coming from a person, it drifted like smoke, like a memory wrapped in venom. Snow White closed her eyes. She knew that voice. She wished she didn't. Her stepmother. The Queen. The forest rustled again. A cold breeze hissed between the trees, carrying words meant only for Snow White. "You cannot hide from me. You cannot escape your fate. I will have what I want." Snow White took a step back. Her foot trembling, her hand clutching the nearest dwarf. Bashful whispered, "Don't listen. It's not real. It's just the wind." But Snow White knew. Deep inside, she knew it wasn't the wind. The forest knew too. The branches wilted. The leaves curled. Even the animals hid. The Queen's hatred was spreading, reaching, crawling across the kingdom like poison, and somewhere far away, in a dark, towering castle, the Queen stood before her mirror, smiling. Oh, what a smile it was, cold, sharp, satisfied. She had seen Snow White through her enchantments, seen her fear, seen her retreat into the dwarf's cottage. "Foolish child," the queen whispered. "Still alive, still breathing, still ruining everything." Her fingers curled around a golden comb. A comb carved with serpentine patterns, a comb gleaming with poison-laced magic. The queen lifted it to the light, admiring its deadly beauty. "One touch," she murmured. "One gentle stroke, and the girl will fall." The mirror hissed, "Yes, my queen, this time, she will not escape." The queen's smile widened. "It's time to pay her a visit." Her cloak swirled like a storm. Her magic sparkled like broken glass. The room crackled with a wicked power, and in a flash, she was gone. But her voice lingered in the cold air. "Snow White, my sweet, your end draws near." Back in the forest, Snow White shivered. She didn't know why. Didn't know what fate was rushing toward her, but she felt it. Something dark. Something hungry. The dwarfs didn't leave her side. Not for a second. Happy tried cheering her up, telling silly jokes, making silly faces, but even he felt uneasy. The sky dimmed earlier than usual. Shadows stretched longer than they should. Night crept in like a stalker. Finally, they reached the cottage. The dwarfs hurried inside, pulled curtains closed, locked windows, checked every nook and cranny. Snow White tried to calm them. "It's all right, really. I'm fine." But her voice didn't convince anyone. Not even herself. She sat near the fireplace, watching the flames dance, hoping warmth would chase away the fear. But the fear stayed. Sitting beside her. Breathing down her neck. Far, far outside the cottage. Beyond trees, beyond moonlight, beyond reason, a cloaked figure stepped into the forest. The queen. Her footsteps silent. Her eyes glowing with cruel delight. And in her pocket, the deadly comb pulsed with magic, waiting. The castle shone, the gardens glowed, and yet, somewhere deep in the forest, darkness stirred again. Queen Hela watched through her swirling crystal ball, eyes narrow, smile sharp, heart filled with poison. "Good, good," she whispered. "The little dwarf trusts me. Snow White will fall, and this time, I will win." She raised her hand, a swirl of smoke, a whisper of evil magic, a spell wrapping around the comb like a snake. The enchantment hissed softly, a curse of ugliness, a curse meant only for Snow White. Hela held the comb close. "Just one touch, my dear princess, just one, and your beauty will vanish forever." Then, footsteps, freckled, with her little golden hair glowing softly, approached the castle gates. The dwarves guided her kindly, talking excitedly, pointing at flowers, showing her fountains, laughing with her like they had known her forever. But inside the cave, Hela wasn't done. "Oh no, not yet." She waved her hand again, the crystal ball expanded, scenes danced inside it like tiny ghosts, Prince Antoine riding back, Snow White waiting in the garden, the dwarves glowing with pride as they welcomed their new friend. Hela's irritation burned. Why are they always happy? Why does she always survive? Her voice echoed through the cave, cold enough to freeze the walls. Dunkov trembled nearby. I don't think this is a good idea, my queen. Silence. Hela hissed. She slammed her hand onto the crystal ball. The image zoomed in on Freckled, her innocent smile, the cursed comb hidden quietly in her bag. Hela grinned. Yes, go, little dwarf, brush her hair, bring me her fall. Snow White stepped out into the sunlight, soft, gentle, glowing like dawn itself, her voice warm, her smile even warmer. Oh. Hello, who is this lovely new friend? Freckled bowed nervously, hands shaking a little, eyes wide with admiration. My princess. I'm Freckled. I lost my way in the forest, the dwarves helped me. Snow White touched her shoulder softly. You are safe now. Would you like to stay with us in the castle? Freckled's heart fluttered. Yes, yes, I would love that. The dwarves cheered. Happy, proud, excited for their new friend. But then, Snow White leaned closer. You have such beautiful hair, golden, soft, may I touch it? Freckled blushed. Of course, princess. Snow White smiled. Let me get a comb. And this was the moment Hela had waited for. Freckled froze. Her hand slowly reached into her bag. Her fingers touched the comb, the cursed comb, the poisoned comb, the trap. It's okay. Freckled whispered softly. I'll use my comb, the one I brought, especially for you. The dwarves smiled innocently, they knew nothing, they suspected nothing. Snow White sat down, her dark silky hair falling over her shoulders, shining like midnight water. Freckled lifted the comb, one breath, two breaths, her hand trembled slightly. A strange cold wind brushed past her cheek, the dwarves didn't feel it. Snow White didn't feel it, but Hela felt everything. She whispered through her magic, yes, yes, do it. Freckled touched the comb to Snow White's hair. And the world changed. The comb touched Snow White's hair, just once, just a soft stroke, but the curse struck like lightning. Snow White gasped. A tiny breath at first, then a cry, a shiver, a shock that rippled through her whole body. Her dark hair turned white, white as winter snow, white as frozen storms, her skin wrinkled. Changing, twisting, her youthful face fading into something old, fragile, unrecognizable. The dwarves froze. What's happening? What did you do? Snow White. Freckled dropped the comb. Her hands shaking. Her heart pounding. I didn't know. I swear. I didn't know this comb was cursed. Snow White leaned over a tiny pool of water. Her reflection trembling, her voice breaking. No, what's happened to me? Her tears fell into the pool, rippling across the water like falling stars. The dwarves jumped into action. Take the comb. Throw it away. Destroy it. The cursed comb splashed into the water. Hissing. Smoking. Sizzling like a dying serpent, but Snow White remained old. Fragile. Shivering. Freckled cried. I didn't know, Hela gave it to me, she said it would help Snow White, She lied to me. The dwarves looked at her. Some angry, some confused, but most of them hurt. Freckled trembled. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I never wanted this. Snow White touched her cheek. Her eyes gentle, even in her weakened form. I know, I believe you, but how can this be undone? Silence. No one knew. No spell book. No potion. No magic. No plan. Then, a soft glow, Freckled remembered something. The feather. My princess, the feather that changed my hair, maybe it can change you too. The dwarves turned to her. Eyes wide. Try it? Yes. Try it? Hurry. Freckled pulled the colorful magical feather from her hair. Its colors shimmered. Soft, warm, hopeful, she placed it gently into Snow White's white, cursed hair. And the feather began to glow. Light flowed from the feather, soft at first, then brighter, brighter, filling the entire garden with warm, glowing magic. The wrinkles faded, the white hair softened, darkened, turned silky black once more. Snow White's hands smoothed, her cheeks lifted, her eyes sparkled again, her beauty returned, slowly, gracefully, like the sunrise after the longest night. The dwarves cheered. Jumping, crying, laughing. She's back. She's really back. Princess. Snow White opened her eyes. Full of life again. Full of warmth. Freckled fell to her knees. Relieved, exhausted, tears running down her face. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I never should have trusted her. Snow White hugged the little dwarf gently. You didn't know. You were deceived. And you saved me, that makes you a friend. The dwarves nodded. All forgiving her at once. Some patting her head. Some helping her stand. You did good. You fixed it. You're one of us now. Freckled cried even harder. But this time, they were happy tears. Deep in the cave, Hela watched everything. The crystal ball flickered. The images grew clearer. Snow White restored, Freckled accepted, the dwarves celebrating, and Hela screamed. No. Not again. Every time. Every single time she survives. Her magic flared. Shaking the cave. Cracking the stone. Sending dust everywhere. Dunkov hid behind a rock. My queen, maybe you should. Silence. She blasted the wall with fury. The cave howled back. Hela paced, eyes burning, hands trembling with rage. Why can't I win? Why can't I destroy her, even once? She slammed her staff onto the ground. Magic flashing violently. This isn't over, not even close. But the crystal ball continued to show only one thing, Snow White laughing softly, Freckled hugging the dwarves, the castle glowing with light, and Hela narrowed her eyes. Snow White, enjoy your happiness, because I will return. Her voice echoed through the cave, dark, cold, vengeful, and so, Snow White survived once again. With kindness. With courage. With the help of a tiny dwarf with freckles and a magical feather, Freckled found a home, found friends, found a family. The dwarves welcomed her. Snow White forgave her. And peace returned to the castle, for now. But far away, in the shadows of the forest, Queen Hela prepared her next plan. Because the story was not over. Not yet. Not even close, the poisonous command. Episode 5 complete. Have you ever wondered what it feels like to be loved so deeply, so patiently, that even time cannot erase it? This is the story of a tree, a boy, and a love so quiet yet so powerful, that it changed the world of both. There once stood a tall, gentle tree on the edge of a forest near a small town. It wasn't a famous tree or a magical one. It was simply kind. Its leaves were bright green, always dancing in the wind. Its branches stretched wide like open arms. Birds from faraway places rested on its branches and sang songs of their long journeys. To the world, the tree was just a part of nature. But to one little boy, the tree was everything. Every afternoon, after school, the boy would run through the fields, backpack bouncing behind him, hair messy from the wind, and he would go straight to the tree like he was returning home. The tree shook its leaves happily every time he came near. The boy threw his arms around the trunk. He climbed it with muddy shoes. He swayed from its branches like a monkey doing tricks. He ate the tree's apples and wiped the juice on his shirt without caring. And he talked. Oh, he talked so much. He told the tree about his day at school, about the games he played, the dreams he had, the things he wanted to become when he grew up. And the tree listened. It always listened. The boy would even collect fallen leaves, place them on his head like a crown, and say, "Look, I am the king. And this is my royal tree." The tree loved those moments. Loved the boy's laughter. Loved the idea that for a little while, it could be part of his world. But time has a way of changing things, slowly, quietly. The boy grew taller. His legs grew longer. His backpack got heavier. And his time in the forest grew shorter. He still visited, but less often. Once a day turned into once a week. Then once a week turned into once a month. And sometimes, the boy didn't come at all. Still, the tree waited. Even when its leaves fell in winter. Even when the cold wind blew through its empty branches. Even when the birds left and didn't return for months. The tree waited because love waits. One afternoon, after a long absence, the boy returned. But he wasn't really a boy anymore. He looked restless, busy, almost lost. The tree lifted its branches weakly. "Come, boy," it said gently. "Climb my trunk. Swing from my branches. Eat my apples. Be happy like before." The young man shook his head. "I'm too big to climb. And I'm too busy to swing. I need money, tree. I want to see the world. I want to be successful. I want to be happy." The tree thought for a moment. "I don't have money, but I do have apples. Take them. Sell them. Then you will have money." The young man's face lit up. Really, thank you, tree. He took every apple, every single one. Then he ran off. The tree felt lighter. A little emptier. But also happy. Because the boy, no matter how grown, still smiled because of it. But again, he didn't return for a long time. Years passed. The forest around the tree began to change. More people came. More trees were cut down. Roads appeared. Buildings grew tall. The clear blue sky turned gray in the distance. The tree missed the days when the forest was full of laughter and birdsong. But most of all, it missed the boy. One day, the boy, now a grown man with tired eyes, returned. Come, the tree said, mustering all its strength. Climb my trunk. Swing from my branches. Eat my apples. I can't, the man sighed. I have a family now. A wife. Children. And I need a house to keep them safe. If I had a house, maybe I would be happy. The tree thought hard. I have no house to give you, but you can cut my branches and build your home. The man didn't even hesitate. He cut every branch, one by one, until the tree stood bare. The birds flew away. The wind felt colder. The tree couldn't hug the sky anymore. But still, it whispered, if this makes you happy, then I am happy too. And once again, the man disappeared for many years. The tree was now just a tall trunk. No branches. No shade. No songs. Just memories. Then, one evening, the man returned again. He sat down against the trunk and cried. My wife left me, he whispered, voice shaking. My children don't talk to me. I feel so alone. I want to go far away from everything. The tree wished it had arms. Wished it had apples. Wished it could hold him like the old days. If going away gives you peace, the tree said softly, cut my trunk. Use it to build a boat. Sail across the quiet water you loved as a child. The man hesitated for only a moment. Then he cut the trunk down. The tree fell, not in anger, not in fear, but in acceptance. The boat was built. The man sailed away. And the tree became nothing more than a lonely stump. Many years passed. The forest around the stump disappeared completely. Concrete replaced soil. Pollution filled the air. The birds no longer returned. And then one last time, the boy came back. But he was no longer a boy. He was an old man, bent, breathless, tired from life. Tree, he whispered. Where are you? The stump trembled. I'm here, it said softly. Oh, tree, the world has changed so much. I can't breathe well. I'm tired. I have nowhere peaceful to sit. I'm sorry, boy, the stump replied. I have no apples. No branches. No trunk. I am just an old stump now. The old man smiled kindly. I don't need anything anymore. I just want a place to rest. The stump straightened itself as much as it could. Well, it said gently, an old stump is perfect for sitting and resting. Come, boy. Sit down. Rest. The old man sat. For the first time in years, he felt calm. He breathed in the soft breeze. He watched the gentle sunset. And he felt something he had forgotten long ago. Peace. The tree, though only a stump, felt full again. Because the boy had returned. And their hearts were exactly where they belonged. Seedling moral of the story: nature gives us everything: air, shade, beauty, peace, without asking for anything in return. But if we take and take without caring, one day, there will be nothing left. Love nature the way it loves us. Because in the end, we need the earth more than the earth needs us.
Have you ever heard of an animal so spoiled, so comfortable, that it would rather trick its own master than take a few steps to work? Well, this is the story of such a creature. Once upon a time, in a peaceful little village surrounded by fields and trees, there lived a kind and hard-working trader. Every morning he packed grains, vegetables, pulses, spices, whatever the market needed, and carried them to town to earn his living. And helping him in all of this was his young, strong, well-fed and very healthy donkey. Now, you might think such a donkey would be grateful, but no. This donkey was unbelievably lazy. He loved to sleep, he loved to eat, and he absolutely hated work. Another day to the market? Oh no, can't we take a holiday? He would mumble to himself, completely unaware that without work, even he wouldn't have food to eat. Every day, the trader loaded sacks onto the donkey's back, and together they walked toward the market. But there was always one part of the journey the donkey disliked most: crossing the river. The trader would hold him gently, guide him carefully over the stones, making sure the water never rose too high. He truly cared for his donkey. One day the trader learned that salt was in high demand. He filled 6 sacks with salt and loaded them onto the donkey. But the donkey, as always, complained and refused to walk until the trader gently removed a sack. And when the donkey still didn't move, the trader had to use a little stick, just a tap, to remind him that work needed to be done. That day the salt sold out quickly, and the trader happily returned home. The donkey, of course, sighed with relief. No load on the way back, his favourite part of the day. But fate had something else planned. A few days later, with 6 sacks of salt on his back, the donkey and his master reached the river. The water was a bit high, and the trader walked slowly, carefully. And then, slip! The donkey lost his footing and sat down with a heavy splash. The trader panicked, pulled him up, checked if he was hurt. But the donkey suddenly felt strangely light. No burden on my back, but the sacks are still here. What kind of magic is this? He looked around, amazed. He thought the river had supernatural powers. But of course, the truth was simple. The water had melted the salt. The trader, heartbroken about the loss, returned home early. The donkey, delighted, slept and ate all day. And that night he thought of something clever. The next morning, carrying 6 new sacks of salt, they reached the river again. And before the trader could say a word, the donkey marched ahead, sat right down in the exact same spot and grinned. The sacks grew lighter. The trader's eyes grew wider. "Wait! He did this on purpose! This lazy animal!" The trader said nothing, but he knew exactly what to do next. The following morning, the donkey noticed something unusual. 8 sacks instead of 6. But surprisingly, They didn't feel heavy. How wonderful. Put as many as you like, he thought smugly. Today I will visit my magical river again. And so, with the trader walking silently behind him, the donkey stepped into the water, walked to the same slippery stone, and dropped himself into the river with a splash. But this time, thud! His back didn't feel lighter. It felt heavier. Much heavier. Crushingly heavy. Oh no! What is happening? Why is my back so heavy? What sorcery is this? The trader finally spoke. You thought you could fool me. So today I filled your sacks with cotton, and cotton, my dear donkey, absorbs water. The donkey tried to stand, trembling under the weight, but he had no choice. He had to walk to the market with 8 soaking wet, unbelievably heavy sacks of cotton and walk all the way back. Not once did he complain. Not once did he attempt to sit down again. He had learned his lesson. And from that day onward, the donkey never, ever dared to sit in the river again. He finally understood that tricks and laziness only lead to greater burden. The trader continued to care for him with love, and the donkey finally worked with honesty. And so their days became peaceful again, because even the laziest donkey can change after carrying 8 sacks of soaking wet cotton.
Oh, the sun is shining, the breeze is soft, the grass is green, and summer is here. How can anyone not enjoy this? The warmth, the fruits, the fresh, soft grass, everything is perfect. This is Raghu. Raghu is a grasshopper. A happy grasshopper, a very happy one. He loves to sing, he loves to play, he loves to do nothing at all. Just lying around, soaking up the sun, whistling a little tune, feeling the breeze tickle his antennae. Oh, how I love the summer! Raghu cheered, his legs stretched out on the soft, green grass, sniffing the fresh smell of flowers and leaves, nibbling on a little fruit. The fruits, the grass, everything is perfect. But wait, what is that? Something strange, something moving, a fruit? Yes, a fruit is walking. Slowly, it slides across the green grass, inch by inch. Raghu freezes. His eyes widen. What the fruit is moving. Cautiously, very cautiously. Raghu crept closer. Hello, fruit, tell me, who are you? He whispered. I am ghost magic. The fruit replied, slowly moving towards him. Raghu jumped back. Help! Help! The fruit is attacking me. His tiny heart raced. The grasshopper was terrified. Suddenly, laughter. Giggles. Raghu looked around, and saw them, a dozen ants. Tiny ants, crawling underneath the fruit, carrying it, moving it, working together. The fruit is attacking me. Raghu cried. Are you afraid, Raghu? One little ant giggled. I wasn't afraid, Raghu said, puffing out his chest. Don't you know I'm a grasshopper, hopping, running, that's my job. I do not fear a fruit. The ants chuckled. Oh yes, Mr. Raghu, are you sure the fruit didn't scare you? Oh, please. Raghu waved a leg dismissively. Hopping is my job, you silly ants. Just like your job is to carry a dozen ants for one fruit. I am big and mighty. I do not need anyone to help me carry a fruit. Do you tiny ones really need all this work for one piece of fruit? The ants smiled politely. Very funny, Raghu, but we are not carrying this fruit to eat. We are collecting it, for winter. Raghu tilted his head. Winter? What's winter? This is summer, summer is forever. Look, the ant said, pointing. See all those lines, all the ants, each one carries food to our home underground. Tomatoes, berries, corn, baby carrots, and more, each drops the food into our storehouse, and returns for more. This is preparation, Raghu, preparation for winter. Raghu blinked, curiosity mixed with confusion. Why do you all need to do this? Have the fruits gone bad? Oh no. The ants replied. The fruits and leaves are still fresh, but soon, summer will end. Winter will come. The grass, the leaves, the fruits, all will disappear. If we do not prepare, we will starve. You must store food too, Raghu. All this green, all this abundance, it will not last forever. Raghu laughed, a deep, hearty laugh. You are all so tiny, that's why you need a whole season to gather and store food. I am just one grasshopper. I will manage in a few days. Till then, I will enjoy the breeze, lie by the river, sing, hop, eat, nothing will stop me. The ants nodded silently, they knew he would not listen. They wished him well, and continued their work. What silly creatures, Raghu said to himself. Missing out on the joy of the season, worrying about winter. Winter doesn't end the world, surely there will be something to eat, why worry about tomorrow? And so, Raghu spent the days hopping and skipping, chewing fresh grass, lazing by the river, whistling carelessly, not a single thought about winter. Weeks passed, the sun still shone, the grass still swayed, the fruits were plentiful, and Raghu grew fatter each day. One day, as he lay on a thick layer of grass, he saw a long line of ants. Tiny soldiers, carrying twigs and leaves. What is this? Where are you taking these leaves and twigs? Raghu asked, curious. We are taking them, to keep us comfortable during winter, an ant explained. You must collect food too, Raghu. Winter is very cold, and long. Raghu chuckled. Winters are always cold, you silly ants, you work so hard. I am just me, big and mighty. I will surely find something when winter comes. Why worry about tomorrow? The ants shook their heads, again, they knew he would not listen. But just then, a tiny ant cried out in pain. Ouch, my leg. Raghu quickly jumped up. Oh no. What happened? Are you okay? My leg. I cannot walk now, the ant whimpered. Raghu smiled. No problem. You can sit on my back. I will carry you home. And so, Raghu lifted the little ant, and hopped, then jumped, and flew through the fields, carrying the ant on his back. The little ant felt the wind on her face, the green lands below, the rivers, the waterfalls. She had never seen anything so beautiful. When they reached home, hundreds of ants were busy carrying leaves and twigs into the big underground storehouse. Raghu watched, amazed. Oh, so this is how you prepare for winter. Raghu ignored the ants' advice, completely, utterly. He hopped, skipped, chewed fresh grass, whistled lazily by the river. Oh, what a life! He said, lying on a dry leaf, gazing at the bright, blue sky. Why worry about tomorrow? He laughed, munching tiny green leaves. Weeks passed, the sun began to move lower, the days grew shorter, the grass slowly changed, turning pale, yellow, brown. Raghu grew fatter, lazier, still believing summer would never end. He looked around, the ants were nowhere to be seen. Maybe they finally listened to me, he thought. They decided to enjoy the season too. He chuckled. Whatever is left, I will enjoy, as always. But little did he know, the ants were not idle, no, they were preparing, tirelessly, storing food, collecting leaves, twigs, building shelter. Raghu didn't care, he had no idea what winter held. Then, one morning, everything changed. Snow covered the ground, layer upon layer, cold, cruel, white, the green grass was gone, the bright fruits disappeared. Raghu shivered, his stomach growled, he hopped, he searched, for a single green leaf, for a warm place, a safe shelter, but nothing, only snow, only cold. Days passed. Raghu grew thinner, weaker, slower, hunger gnawed at him, frost bit his legs. He remembered, suddenly, the ants. They were storing food, they had twigs, leaves. Raghu's antennae drooped, he felt fear, real fear. He shuffled, hopped, knocked on the ant hole, trembling. "Can anybody hear me?" he called, weakly. "Who is it?" a voice answered. "Oh, it's me. Raghu," he whispered. I need shelter, food. I am cold, starving." At first, the ants were shocked. "Raghu, the one who laughed at us, the one who said why worry about tomorrow?" "Yes," Raghu replied, shivering. I understand my mistake. I should have prepared. Please, give me some food." The queen ant came out, with many workers. "I know him," said one ant. "He helped me once, when my leg was hurt, he carried me home." The queen nodded. "Yes, he has helped us before. Even if he ignored advice, we can help him, just this winter, but he must learn a lesson." So, they acted quickly, brilliantly. Leaves were wrapped around Raghu to keep him warm, a small house of twigs was built, snug, cozy, safe. They gave him hot soup, fruits, everything he needed. Raghu ate slowly, tears in his eyes. "Oh, thank you, Your Highness, thank you for saving me. I owe you my life, you are so kind." The queen smiled. "Raghu, you helped one of our members before, now we help you. But remember, always prepare for the future, never be lazy, never ignore tomorrow." Raghu nodded, shivering but happy. I understand. I will not forget. I will be ready next time. I promise." Winter continued, but Raghu was safe, warm, fed. He watched the ants tirelessly. Every day, they worked together, carried food, cared for each other. He realized, he had wasted the whole summer, lying, eating, singing, without thought. "Being big and mighty is not enough," Raghu said, quietly. "You must also be wise, and prepare, for the days to come." The ants nodded, approvingly. "Yes, and hard work pays off, teamwork matters, and foresight keeps you alive." Days passed, the snow slowly melted, spring approached. Raghu stretched his legs, strong again, wiser, careful. He hopped around, but this time, he helped store food, collect leaves, prepare shelter. "Now, I will enjoy summer, yes, but I will also respect tomorrow." And so, Raghu learned his lesson. He learned about preparation, responsibility, foresight, and gratitude. He never laughed at the ants again, never underestimated the little creatures. Winter came and went, and Raghu survived, safe, warm, and wiser. The ants smiled, tiny, hard-working, wise ants, and Raghu, the grasshopper, still loved summer, but now, he respected the seasons, and the work of others, the end.
Have you ever heard of love so brave, so stubborn, that not even the whole wide world could tear it apart? This is the story of Captain Tin. Manu was a cheerful little boy who lived in a big house filled with toys of every kind. Every time a new toy appeared in the market, his parents bought it for him. One day, his mother placed a shiny tin box in his hands. "Open it, my boy," she said gently. Inside were 100 tin soldiers standing tall and proud, except for one. This one had only a single leg. "Oh no," his mother whispered. "This one is defective." But Manu hugged the soldier close and shook his head. "No, Mama, you told me that being different isn't wrong. He's special. He'll be the captain." And so the little soldier received a name he would carry with honor: Captain Tin. That night, when Manu left the room and the door clicked shut, magic spread across the shelves. Toys stretched, yawned, shook the dust from their bodies as they came alive. But Captain Tin didn't join them. His gaze was locked on something glowing across the room. Inside a delicate paper castle stood a ballerina made of shining paper. Tracy. She balanced gracefully on one foot, her other leg stretched behind her, and right on her dress shimmered a tiny red heart. The light from the toy pond reflected on a face like morning dew on a petal. Captain Tin had never seen anything so breathtaking. His heart, a heart made of tin but burning like fire, began to thump. He wanted to speak to her, but what could a one-legged soldier say to a ballerina so elegant? Night deepened, but his feelings only grew stronger. He finally whispered to himself, "I must at least try." And with courage greater than any toy in the room, he jumped from the shelf. He fell, got up, fell again, but every time he rose stronger, until at last he reached her castle. "Hello? I wanted to say, you're the most beautiful ballerina I've ever seen," he stammered, his tin cheeks almost glowing. Tracy looked at him gently. "I saw you fall," she said softly, "but I also saw you stand up every time. That courage, it's beautiful." And just like that, something magical began, a quiet bond, delicate and warm. But morning arrived too soon. As Manu searched for his captain, a maid spotted Captain Tin on the floor. "A broken toy," she muttered, and before anyone could stop her, she placed him on a paper boat and let him drift into the rushing water outside. Captain Tin spun helplessly through the drain, swallowed by dark tunnels and roaring currents. But through every bump, every fall, every storm, he repeated the same words: "I must go back to Manu and to Tracy." Just when he thought all hope was gone, a giant fish swallowed him whole. Yet even inside the fish, he kept moving, kept fighting, until fate stepped in again. A fisherman caught the fish, a cook sliced it open, and there, lying inside, was the Steadfast Tin Soldier, soaked, scratched but unbroken. The cook washed him clean and rushed out in excitement. Manu gasped, "Captain Tin, you came back!" But Captain Tin wasn't looking at Manu. His heart was searching, and then he saw her. Tracy, still there, still waiting. Their eyes met, and for a moment the whole world stood still. Manu smiled as if he understood everything. He gently placed Captain Tin beside Tracy in her little castle. "There," he whispered, "right where you belong." The ballerina leaned close, her paper rustling softly. "You came back," she breathed. "I promised I would," he replied. And from that day forward, the two stood side by side on the highest shelf in Manu's room, a ballerina of paper and a soldier of tin, their hearts beating to the same quiet, steady rhythm. Every night, when the house fell asleep and the moon poured silver light through the window, Tracy danced softly, and Captain Tin watched with a heart full of love and pride. Two souls, one made of paper and one of tin, but bound together by the one thing stronger than everything else, a love that never ever gave up. And that, dear listener, is the magic of Captain Tin and his ballerina.